Hello, I'm Ed Burt with Beacon Application Services. Today's video will demonstrate some of the capabilities of Beam Compare. First, Beam Compare is not a replacement of the PeopleSoft Compare reports. Beam Compare is a detailed data and or object comparison of specific records or grouping of records within your PeopleSoft environment. To understand a Beam Compare, it's worth backing up and starting with a basic understanding of the Beam architecture. Beacon's Enterprise Application Management Suite, or Beam, is housed and executed from an independent standalone environment. Beam does not reside within your existing PeopleSoft production, test, or development environment, which means there's no footprint in your PeopleSoft platform. And it also means that Beam is able to span across various or different PeopleTools releases. It's also able to reach across multiple PeopleSoft suites, your financial suite, your HR suite, campus solutions, as well as the ability to span across different database platforms, SQL Server or Oracle. The environment that executes Beam is referred to as the Beam sys environment. I'm going to log into and actually run some compares directly from our Beam sys environment. As we know, the flexibility and power of PeopleSoft lies in the data definitions that drive the logic of the PeopleSoft business processes, whether it's specific control data values or metadata definitions. Managing all this data is very difficult, which triggers an unfortunate but common occurrence across the PeopleSoft customer base. That being that a successful business process in one environment, say Dev for example, happens to be failing when you run that same business process in another environment, your test environment for example. And there is the beauty and the beast of the PeopleSoft system. The data drives this logic, and Beam Compare is there to analyze that data and help tame that beast. Let's actually run a Beam Compare to demonstrate this functionality. Beam starts with an actual job. The job definition defines which environments we would like to analyze, our source environment versus our test environment. The job also defines which method we will use. In this case, we'll compare a specific record. So for example, we have an AP user processing and development, and everything is working fine, but they go into the test environment, and all of a sudden those defaults and options associated with that user are causing problems and differences in the AP business process. Knowing AP, we know that that specific record that holds those operator defaults is the operator default table for AP. So what we'll do is we'll run a record compare using the AP operator default table. You'll notice we can use these application tables or PeopleSoft system tables. In this case, we were going to run with the operator defin table for AP. We can also run that comparison to compare just the data values within that table or the structure along with the data values associated with that table. So we'll execute that compare. That process is now running for us. Beam delivers a series of methods. They're predefined that allow you to analyze or group this information in any way that makes sense for you. So for example, in this case, we knew the specific record. I may know the page name or the component. So I can run the compare based on what I know or what makes sense on how to group the objects in PeopleSoft. A class is also a grouping of records. Classes are very powerful as PeopleSoft delivers their own specific classes that are more technically oriented, such as your business components, your business interlinks, your application engine rules. But what's a very common usage of the class is to define your own business, your logical business set of records that help you analyze the configuration and control data. So for example, I can build a banking class or a class related to my GL allocations or my time and labor rules. And what these classes allow us to do is establish the list of records that make up that logical set that drives that configuration. So building that set of records gives us a business logic that allows us an awful lot of power in analyzing the configuration and control structure defined for PeopleSoft. So we turn to our job here, see if that is finished. So we'll go right to the dashboard where the output of those jobs are defined, and we'll see that that job has completed. There's the compare of our operator definitions table for AP, ran in 22 seconds, in fact. So we'll look at the details of that job. The details provide us a job log, but what we're really after is the actual compare results. The results start with a summary view of what's different, and we see we have 5 specific differences on the operator defin table for AP. We can drill down to those differences, and we find that there's an operator defined in the source but not on the target environment. So this operator RAD is in the source system but is not defined in the target system. We also, where the fields or records are the same, it will show us the specific differences. So the authorized payment unmatched field for the operator VP1 is turned off in the source environment, yet turned on in the target environment. The unmatched payment amount field is also different. Again, for that same operator VP1 being turned off, it's set at a 0 value in the source environment, but about $5,000 value in the target environment. And finally, the last example is the reverse. We do have operators defined on the target system, but are not found or not defined in the source database. So we have 2 operators that are not defined in the source environment. So a quick compare of that operator table has shown us the exact details of what's different between those 2 environments, giving us the information that we can now use to solve the problem. Another common use of the compare functionality is to validate data mover processes. The data mover just provides you a message as if the job ran, and it provides you a message with the row counts, but it does not give you any information on if it actually defined what you were looking for, your expected results out of a data mover. You can easily define the data mover set of records as a class. So for example, if I'm doing a GL allocations data mover to move the rules across from one environment to another environment, data mover gives me a row count, but I can define a class with all those allocation rule tables, run a compare, and get the results that proves that my data mover has actually loaded and moved the data across the environments as expected. A very powerful way to now use this compare in a proactive manner. In addition to our compare methods for specific record groupings, We also deliver some of the common compare aspects that people go after, things such as comparing your security, comparing trees, analyzing the environment to find the most recent set of changes or updates within an environment. There's a lot of power in the Veeam Compare tool. It gives you the ability to analyze the data and the metadata for efficient problem solving, as well as a proactive usage to ensure that you're avoiding problems in the first place. Thank you very much.